Hey, so I don't want to get in your head before your big rematch or anything, but Rambro, man, he's been looking super focused and real intimidating lately. Yeah, no, it's been a little intimidating watching him do that Rocky IV training, muttering to himself and seeming hyper motivated about this rematch. Don't push it. Don't push it. Don't push it. Well, hello again, boys. Run. Relax, relax. I didn't come to take you in this time. Oh, okay. I came to protect you. I came to protect you from him. Well, frankly, I'm just amazed he allowed any of your posse to live. Oh, really? Well, while I appreciate your concern, good sir, my boy Ranger here wiped the floor last time with Rambro, and I don't think it's going to be any different this time. So I appreciate it, but I'm not worried. Are you? Well, strictly speaking, he slipped up. You're lucky to be breathing.
Oh, I could have killed them all. I could have killed you. In town, you're not. Out here, it's me.
You don't seem to be willing to accept the fact that you're dealing with an expert in guerrilla warfare. A man trained to deal with knives, guns, bare fists. A man who's been trained to ignore pain, ignore weather, live off the land, to eat things that would make a billy goat puke. In Nam, his job was to eliminate enemy personnel. Well, Rambo was the best. Hey, I feel like we're missing a lot of valuable background context here. Don't push it. All right, well, that is terrifying. Okay, so you got this? You good? Well, I wouldn't say I'm too worried as long as I got you by my side. Right, Sir Gaines? I'm sitting this one out. Well, I'm gonna give you a war you wouldn't believe. Don't push it. Dear God. It's go time. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, nerd and nerdettes. Now, if you made it through that intro, congratulations. We probably have the same humor, or you just skipped ahead using the chapter section, which, internet, is 100% an option if you don't think I'm as funny as I think I am. Now, last time I did a video comparing heavy warbows to modern compound bows. Let's just say there were opinions. Some of them were very helpful, some great compound bow hunters, and people told me different things. I'd never used a compound bow before, so they gave me some good directions, and others in, say, to keep this a family-friendly channel were passionate.
What an idiot!
Well, today I seek to right that wrong in giving you the most definitive heavy warbows versus compound bows. Ranger, why don't you let me take it from here? Oh. Okay, yeah, sure. Take it away, man. To put it simply, I am more excited than I have been in a long time. Marriage to my wife, old news. Birth of all three of my children, what have you done for me lately? New 100-pound King Cobra bow from APA Archery with 1,800 grain arrows. That's exciting. That seems maybe a little bit excessive. I don't know. Think so, do you? Well, look at your bow. Now back to me. Now back to your bow. Now back to me. I'm not wearing a shirt. This is me before I started using the King Cobra bow. This is me once I had laid my eyes upon it. If the Emperor God King ever deemed it necessary to equip his testosterone-laden, Xenos-killing juggernauts with anything other than a bolter, this would be that weapon. If you're over 40 and your testosterone levels have dropped lower than the potential future of Star Wars Disney, then simply touching this weapon of mass destruction will be enough to increase your level the same as all the natural influencers on social media. Are you done? I don't know, I got one more. If you are worried that one day deers will gain access to technology and start wearing armor and your piddly 65-pound compound with broad head won't do anything and you need something that will shoot through both flesh and low-level plate, then this is your bow. Okay, well, without further ado, let's go. What are we gonna do to remedy this test and give the compound bow a better shot? Well, first things first, I have this 100-pound King Cobra compound bow from APA Archery. I reached out to them and they sounded about as excited as me to see what happens. So I'm extremely grateful for them to send me this just to test it out. What are the specs of this thing? Well, they had it clocked at 365 feet per second with a 500 grain arrow. Now, we are not using a 500 grain arrow. We are using this juggernaut of an arrow right here. This arrow here was made by Bishop Archery. It is supposedly the strongest arrow that exists in the world right now. It is big, bulky, and mean. Talking with APA Archery, they are very confident this is the most powerful compound in the world, and if this doesn't do the trick, nothing will. So I feel it's only fitting to start with the wood shield here. This thing has taken immense abuse. And I have had lots of people comment and say my 70-pound compound will go through that like butter, this and this. We're gonna see if you can push through this shield like butter with the most powerful compound bow and arrow combination available on market. Now you may notice I'm not actually using one of those lever release things. A lot of people gave me grief about that on the last video. I actually talked to the manufacturer. They said finger is fine. You can use that if you want, but you can use a standard finger draw to do it. So that's what I'm gonna stick with because that's what I know. So shield versus most powerful compound. I'm actually really excited, guys. I'm like kind of nervous too. Whew, okay. Okay, what have we got from our first shot? Well, we have it right in here. So that was a good in. It's jammed in there, so it's not like it actually just would have kept going, I feel, but the head punched through all the way. Still a solid impact overall. I'm gonna take this off so I can pull it out easier. And then I'm gonna try and get more of a slow-mo behind the camera, look at it to see what that looks like coming through. Maybe I'll lift it up a little bit more to kind of see if it will go through a little bit further, because that was good. Man, I'm just like, that bow makes me nervous, but it was great. Decent penetration again. So that's obviously going a little bit deeper than the bodkin tips. So it's punching in a little bit more. It's got a narrow taper point. I'm actually curious what this kind of arrow would do with the warbows because it's built better to punch into it. But the one thing that everyone always says is speed kills. So I was extremely fortunate in another way because Chad Somerville, he's someone who reached out to me on YouTube and then Instagram and said he would make me some arrows. So these are 150 spine and he gave me some 200 and some 500 grain tips. So I'm gonna try the slightly lighter arrows with the heavier tips and so on and see if that'll get any better penetration because these are lighter here and I'll see if that does any better. So we're gonna be going first with a 200 grain head. Next up, we are going with the 500 grain tip. Okay, so what do we have with those two? What? Oh my gosh. Oh, no way. Okay, so this one here went through here and punched almost all the way through. So it did hit the wood. That was basically a through and through, I feel. The second one, actually, hold on a second, went into the iron that was holding up the armor stand. That's pretty nuts right there, hold on. She went through the shield and actually got stopped right here by this iron stand. So it actually punched into the iron a little bit as well. That's an impressive feat right there. That's awesome. So as you can see, that went through. It actually hit a piece of the wood here. And so I think that caused it to decelerate just a little bit more. But again, we're getting real close to full all the way through. Not quite going through like butter, guys, but it's certainly making an impact. What we're going to be testing here is the Brigandine. When I tested the compound bow last time, it bounced right off. Brigandine, if you're not familiar, is overlapping steel plates. These are about 16 millimeter. Warbows with the bodkins, even the lightest one I have at 130/32 was able to punch into it with no real problem. So we're starting here. So here is what the heavier arrow did. That was this plate here. So it punched in that deep. So basically all the way through, in and in. This one here, this was the arrow that actually hit the Brigandine. So this was the 150 spine arrow. And so these are really strong. Obviously not as strong as that super beefy one, but it completely destroyed, and I think it pushed it into this. Yeah, it kind of broke the point off here as well. So wow, yeah. That was a serious impact right there. And these are reinforced, the whole thing, it just snapped in the back right there. So that was number 2 on the Brigandine, and that was with the lighter arrowhead. So these can just not handle that impact against a hard material. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna ramp it up one more time. We're gonna be testing this bicep made by the dashingly handsome Decretum. Last time when I did the compound bow, that hit here, put a little scrape in it. This is 1mm C60 hardened steel. So it's not a mild steel, it's not gonna bend. When I hit it with the 165 warbow and the 135 at 28 recurve bow, that punched in here. That was a solid impact through and through. And so we're gonna test and see how it does against actual hardened steel. Shoot, guys, gosh dang it. So that actually hit here. There's a small nick where it cut into a little bit, but it was just enough to deflect it and push it up. It right in here, wrapped around and just bent and snapped this in two. So, I mean, this arrow is very tough. I don't know much about the specs, but it had a limit, unfortunately. And that hardened steel, again, it just does a great job of deflection. So that was just a quick upward slight, just enough to go right there and deflect it off the side, push it around, and it pushed into it, wrapped around, I think, the helmet or the iron, and it snapped it in two. Now, moving on from the ancient armor test, we are going to be going to the modern test. And I'm gonna hand that over to Sergeant Alpha Bro. Sergeant Alpha Bro? What the heck are you doing? Man, I just can't believe we have to be in the same video as these beta nerd cosplaying LARP goofballs. I'll tell you what, man, I agree. I didn't go to Nom just to have some bargain bin discount wish Aragorn tell me what to do. I'm sorry, I just caught the tail end of this conversation. Did you say Nom? Weren't you there last year, like for vacation? Well, yeah, it was like super humid. I was like really sticky the whole time. It was terrible, just terrible. Also, wasn't your bandana like red just the other day? Yeah, no, see, it was red, but the problem is I have 3 children and I lost it. So this is the look now until I find another one. Rambro. And you, Mr. Wannabe G.I. Joe over here, what? Hey, don't you dare question me. I lost friends. That's right, Joseph Allen, Roach, Ghost. That sounds familiar. And the worst part about it all, we were betrayed. Are you describing the campaign for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2? Yeah, and it made me like super sad. Like I did really bad on my finals. I couldn't even finish my top ramen. It was awful. You know that doesn't count as like actual military service, right? Anyways, oh, it's not important. Could we get the shield, please? Oh, okay, yeah, just get it yourself, you nerd. Again, really? Well, hello, Sergeant Bro number 10. Would you please kindly get the shield so we can do the modern armor segment? Yep, you got it right away. Oh, 1 shield coming up. That is right, folks. Right now we are moving on to the modern section. Last time, much to my joy and the Ranger's chagrin, he had a heck of a time busting through this polycarbonate sheet. Don't know what polycarbonate is. I touched on it in the other videos a bit there, but it is the material that's used for riot shields. It's a plastic type material. It's about 200 times stronger than glass, 50 times stronger than plexiglass. This is 6mm. Most riot shields are 4 to 8. The stuff you buy online, the cheap stuff that a lot of people test, is only 3mm. As you can see here, the top portion already took a significant amount of damage from the arrows and then later the sling, which also gave me joy because the sling was actually what broke it and not the bows. Despite what the Ranger says. However, what I'm going to do for this thing here is I'm actually going to set it up so it's going to be on the back side here. We have the top part of it in this. This part here was not really hit by anything, so I'm really curious to see how that compound bow is going to do against this. And I think it's going to do very, very well. Now this is the biggest difference so far, I feel. The wood shield definitely, the metal did not do well against. But for this polycarbonate shield here, unlike the warbows, which punch through and would basically go to the end of the bodkin and the needle tip doing the best, this one here had enough energy to transfer and it was stopped by the hay bale also. So I feel it probably would have gone even deeper, so that had plenty of energy to get through the shield and into someone behind it. That's definitely one area where the compound bow is significantly stronger. Well, shoot, as I was pulling this thing out, it broke. I wasn't even wiggling it that hard. I was just trying to see if I can get it out, but it's actually caught in there with the polycarbonate. So that was gonna break no matter what. It actually was broken in the middle. Once I started to move it, I found out that it was coming apart. Shoot, well, that is 5 arrows gone, guys, and that's all the arrows I had to test. So honestly, I feel like I was gonna do the great helm there too, but if it struggled with the 16 gauge, I don't think it would have done much different with the 14 gauge. This is the best showing I could have done. The heavy duty arrow, the 1800 grain arrow, did obviously the best. That was able to punch into the Brigandine. I'm really bummed that it broke on the deflection of the Hardened Steel because I wanted to do the helmet as well, but I wanted to jump ahead and do this. I thought it would break if I did that. Maybe I'll try and get some more arrows and finish this off in another video. Dang it, that sucks. Well guys, if my short time on social media has taught me anything, is that oftentimes it takes a village. As a hobby, this is not something I'm looking to spend tons of money in, which is why I was so grateful that APA was generous to send this to me to test. I'm sending it back, just so you know. I'm still gonna put paid promotion on here because I think YouTube wants me to or whatever, but I will. Also for Bishop for giving me that arrow. that just was a menace until it caught that bad angle, and for Chad, who made me those 4 other arrows and gave me some other broadheads. This was a ton of fun. I wish there would have been more I could have done. I will try and see if I can expand this out more as time goes on, if they let me keep this for a little bit longer. But overall, guys, this has been an absolute blast. It went a little shorter than I would have liked, but it doesn't change the fact that I was thoroughly thrilled and had an amazing time out here with this beast.